thinking is not encouraged. Asking questions is not encouraged. It's all about, here's the doctrine and you must accept it. You must accept it on faith. If you have no faith, you're lost, you know, and that's the whole thing. And faith is essentially asking someone to accept a premise or a set of ideas or something without any evidence and without asking too many embarrassing questions about it. So, you know, I mean, on the personal level, I have no respect for faith. I don't see that it has much usefulness, you know, and I make a distinction between faith and spirituality. I mean, I think that spirituality has usefulness and maybe even evolutionary usefulness, as all this neuroscience is indicating. But faith is being, you know, I mean, faith is being asked to accept a crock without any evidence. Why should you? It's being asked to give up your capacity for asking questions and making your own judgments and exercising critical thinking. Well, why should we do that? Right. Those are the abilities that make us human. That's just something I came up with you know, when I was musing sort of about what are these things really, psychedelics, and what is their overall impact on our species as an evolutionary, on the evolutionary level, you know. And the analogy is not that far from the whole monolith motif in 2001, right? I mean, the monolith, you've seen 2001, right? Who hasn't seen 2001? Right, but the monolith is in some ways a symbol for this unknowable thing that appears and intervenes in human affairs or influences human affairs at sort of critical junctures, you know, in our evolutionary odyssey. And, you know, psychedelics are kind of like that in some ways. I mean, they're not from another star system. They're not, you know, necessarily from, but there's something in nature that can profoundly influence human thought at critical junctures. And the idea is, you know, we think we know a great deal about these psychedelics, you know. I mean, when we do, in some ways, we know where they come from, we know what their chemistry is, we're learning more and more about how they work on the brain and so on. But there's a lot about, and we're looking, you know, at ways to sort of make something of this, make something useful of it. And the obvious you know, application is like medical uses, right? They can be used to treat mental illness or post-traumatic stress syndrome and all that. And all that is true, but I don't think that's the end of it, sort of. I mean, I think that, you know, and that's where the Starship analogy comes from. You know, if we're like, you know, a band of monkeys or something scampering through the jungle and we come on this thing, this crashed starship, you know, we have no idea what it really is, you know, but we're crawling all over it and we're, you know, looking at the blinking lights and we're, you know, maybe breaking off a piece of it and look at it and hey, it has, you know, curing properties or whatever, and we're only looking at a fragment of it. We're only looking at fragments of it. We don't really comprehend it. But, you know, I think what psychedelics are in the evolutionary context, we haven't really comprehended, you know. But I think that, you know, they are part of this process of moving us forward, moving us as a species toward some kind of singularity or something, some kind of transformation, you know, as a species. And I know that, you know, this is heresy when it comes to evolution, because evolution is not supposed to be guided and so on, and and it's not really guided, but it's just that these triggers are there, and you know, the fact that there are psychedelics in nature and that we have discovered them and that we have a brain that is uniquely sort of evolved to interact with these things, and these psychedelics make us have unconventional ideas, means that, you know, there's more going on here than simply Darwinian mechanics, you know. I mean, in other words, when you inject consciousness into the situation, then all bets are off. I mean, for example, if you look at evolution, biological evolution has little or nothing to do with how we're evolving now. I mean, cultural evolution took over a long time ago. And now we're at a point where we're going to, you know, seize the controls of biological evolution. You know, it's not natural selection that's going to determine the future of evolution. We're going to design ourselves. We're already in the process of doing that. So consciousness has completely changed the direction of evolution. So there is, you know, something has erupted, something of a completely different order, and that is consciousness, that is mind, that is radically changing the direction of evolution. And, you know, if it hadn't intervened, we'd probably be going in a very different direction than we are. But as it is, we're, you know, in the process of evolving into something that is either not human or post-human, or, you know, pushes the envelope of what it is to be human, what we think of as human.